Well, hello there. Out here on a scorching Saturday to brave the intensity of an Atlanta August. Temperatures today expected to be up in the mid-90s, but I got to take advantage of the time to get out here and get some miles in. So I have ventured once again down to Sweetwater State Park. I really enjoyed my last time out here, and had hoped to be out a little bit more frequently, but a good chunk of the trail system has been closed for most of the summer due to trail maintenance. So I've kind of been waiting to let that get resolved before coming back down here. So I'm out today to see what condition the trails are in, what's open, what's not, and try and get some miles in during the earlier part of the day before it gets absolutely unbearable. So looks like there's a decent number of people out on the trail today, so not everyone's being warded off due to the heat advisory that we're under, but we'll see how that population continues as the day progresses. But for now, I'm getting started. I'm getting my feet under me, and we'll see how things go from here. As they say, you find things out. So after going along the red trail, the initial stretch there that I did my opening on, I shortly thereafter came to that trail closure. And so apparently the red trail, at least along that stretch, is still closed. There is a not so much a detour, but an alternate path back here on the white trail, which I'm on now, that will connect back up and continue the white trail loop around the park. So learned something, and well, you know, I guess we can say we got a little extra distance in from the backtracking that we had to do. Fortunately, not too much. So continuing on now. Not going to be along Sweetwater Creek quite as much as I would have been, since that's where the red trail mainly runs, and it's probably one of the reasons why it's had such problems with erosion that needs the maintenance and trail rebuilding to take place. So on our new course now and continuing on. Well, I guess the cut around section here is not getting quite the level of maintenance that it might otherwise, since the focus on trail maintenance is on rebuilding that section of the red. Since this blowdown's obviously been here long enough that people have come up with a little walking path around it rather than maintenance clearing it out. So I'm sure in the due course of time it'll be cleared out. As you can see, the ones here ahead of me are, but it just hasn't happened yet. So we make do and adapt. Well, I've completed the detour. We've gotten back to where the red and white trail meet up here next to the river, and as you can see below me here, I'm back to having water sounds accompanying me. So looking forward to that, maybe a little bit more open area where the breeze might get to me, whatever little breeze there is. So had the pleasure of keeping myself entertained on my detour jaunt by calling my dad and talking with him for a while. It's one thing these hikes are good for, is it gives me long stretches of doing nothing else where I can reach out and connect up with the family and You know, the kind of calls you don't normally do when you're just sitting around the house, finding ways to keep yourself busy. Out here, nothing to distract, so it's a good opportunity, and I'm grateful for that. But I got stairs here now, so I need to pay attention to that. I'll give you one more view of the river down below me, and we'll see what views a bit we get along the way. But I don't want to fall down these stairs, so putting the camera up now. Well, we've made the turn away from the river, and then now following the course of this little tributary creek that feeds into Sweetwater Creek, and be walking along the valley floor alongside this creek for a little stretch. And as you can see, the land around it does have a significant climb out. I know that where I exit is a little bit less dramatic than that, but got some nice rock formations here on the opposite bank. So back into shade, maybe not as much breeze, and well, for right now anyway, relatively flat trail. So we'll continue on here, see what this holds for us. About 3 miles in on the hike so far. Heat has been present but not overbearing, keeping myself hydrated and enjoying the trail. A small spur just off the main loop of the trail for what I recall is a, yep, there it is, nice little waterfall, secluded here in a little back section of the park, where this creek that I've been following kind of starts out from the lake, a small little lake area. I'm getting ready to walk around, but yeah, the refreshing sounds of water splashing over the rocks, shaded area, slight breeze through the trees here, nice spot to just rest for a moment from the heat of the day. So I'm gonna do that. There's a bench just near here. I'm probably gonna take a load off my feet for a few minutes and listen to the sounds of the water tumbling. So just thought I'd share a quick view of it for you. Well, I've completed my ascent out of that valley and continuing on now along the more open and flat section of the trail. Gonna loop back around the park a bit till we get back towards the woods leading to the visitor center again, which will complete the first loop that I'm doing, and then the second loop being out across on the other side of Sweetwater Creek for the Orange Trail, which, if I remember correctly, is a little bit less traveled. Not that I've seen that many people today once I got away from the Sweetwater itself, Only a couple people that I've passed along the way since then. But up here a little bit more exposed now, getting into that direct sunlight, as you can tell, and right as we're getting into the heat of the day. So I'll be looking forward to getting back in shade as soon as possible. I did take the precaution to make sure I was well coated in sunscreen today, knowing that I would be out in the intense sun, and so hopefully that protection holds up for me. Doesn't do anything for the heat though, and it is here. Enjoying a bit of shade as I walk along the stretch that runs along the center of the roadway loop that connects all the day use shelters and parking areas in the park here. So taking that reprieve from the sunlight for a bit and enjoying the relatively, I won't say cooler temperatures, but just less intense elements of it. So I'm about 5 miles in, so maybe just over halfway along what I'm planning to do today. When I get back near the visitor center, which is sort of the junction point to the 2 loops I'm doing, probably stop, get a little bite to eat from my provisions that I brought along, rest. Maybe, I think there's a vending machine there I can probably get some Gatorade at to make sure I'm getting the electrolytes in, as well as all the water I've been pushing. So we'll take those steps to make sure I've got the strength and energy to finish out the second half of my trek today in the heat of the afternoon. Legs are still feeling good, and spirits and energy are still up. Just pacing myself as is appropriate for the conditions. Well, I enjoyed my little break there at the visitor center. Rested for probably a good 15 minutes. Had some sustenance and refreshment. Enjoyed that bottle of Powerade. And actually they had a fan going outside with a little bit of a misting aspect to it, so I was able to take advantage of that to have a brief refreshing interlude. So now charged back up. I'm out here on the yellow trail and making my way along it till it crosses over the Sweetwater, and I meet up with the orange trail for the loop on the far side. So we will see how things progress here. I've seen some large groups out here. Even as I got back to the visitor center, saw a group of adults and children that were getting some instruction on archery. So despite the brutal heat, people's activities and enjoyment out here at the park continue. So looks like I'm back near Sweetwater Creek now, so I should be getting close to the bridge before too much longer, and we'll see what lies on the far side. Well, I'm across the bridge, as you can tell, and onto the orange trail, and actually starting out on the section of trail today that's going to have me dealing with the greatest ascent and elevation change that I'm going to have today. So I've started out, I'm on a pretty steady incline right now, proceeding up into the woods towards the ridge that I'll follow along once I get to the top. Didn't necessarily plan it, but one thing I have noticed today is I've actually done both loops of the hike in the opposite direction from how I hiked it last time I was down here. Just giving a little bit different perspective on things, different angle, different view, and you know, ascents and descents both, when you flip them, have an entirely different characteristic to them. So we'll see how this one presents itself, going up where I went down last time and then going down where I went up. But continuing on. Okay, this loop of the Orange Trail along the ridge line needs some maintenance work. This is the second major downfall that has blocked the trail. The other one was even a larger tree. In fact, it had downed the smaller tree that had one of the trail markers on it. And so let's see if we can get over this without too much difficulty. There we go. But yeah, I'm guessing there was a pretty good blow came through here, knocked a couple of those larger trees down right across the trail. And I guess they just haven't gotten the trail crews out here to deal with it yet. Yeah, looks like I may have another one up ahead here. So yeah, some work needs to be done on these trails aside from the reconstruction work that's going on the red and green trails. Now this one is an older one that was cleared a while ago. So far just the two major ones. But anyway, I have ascended the peak once. The trail kind of loops down the back side of it along the ridge and then doubles back to go up the peak again. That's the portion of the trail that I'm on now. So I should be getting back to that second trip up the top here shortly, and then it's all downhill from there. So I'm looking forward to that. But seen a couple of people out along this stretch, so it's not completely alone out here, but definitely far fewer than were on the trails on the other side of the Sweetwater. So the air is heavy and still. Fortunately, I found a bench where I was able to take a load off for a minute or two, drink up some more, and you know, just sort of recharge a little bit before this final ascent back up. Got about 8.5 miles in, so maybe somewhere around 1.5 to 2 miles to go, I think. We'll see how it all pans out. We'll let you know as we go. Well, I'm back down at river level and walking alongside Sweetwater to head back towards the bridge to cross back over. Whew, that was a bit of a jaunt getting up and over the ridge there, but I did it. Took my time, set my pace, rested at intervals. All the lessons I've been picking up and learning along the way, putting them into practice, and it makes a difference. So should be just a little stretch remaining to get back to the bridge and then loop back up to the visitor center. So we'll see how things go from here. But yeah, I've definitely enjoyed my day out here today, despite the challenges. And yeah, we'll see how things finish out. Well, I'm on kind of the last stretch of a trail that I haven't yet walked today. Last little loop, micro loop, back towards the visitor center. So getting to enjoy a nice, pleasant stroll alongside the calm portion of the river here, and just what I need to end out a day that, yeah, I won't say it's been a challenging day, but it's, let's just say been a bit of an arduous day in the weather conditions and some of the trail situations that I had to deal with. Nothing terrain-wise it's been too terrible, but I've enjoyed my hike. It's been a good day given the conditions and my deficit. I needed a day when I get out here and put some miles down towards my deficit. Probably going to get about 11 miles in today, it looks like, and I'll take it. So it has not been much in the way of wildlife out here today, and I get where you can actually see me talking. I've seen lots of turtles out in the water. I've tried to get some pictures of that. A couple of small juvenile frogs hopping along. Nothing I can really get a good picture of. They blended in so well. The one small snake and a couple of squirrels in the distance. That's been about it. Whether it's the heat, time of year, or what, there just hasn't been much out today. So, just been me and my thoughts. But we're gonna finish this thing out, and we will see what the total mileage ends up being and mark that down and look forward to the next outing. But I will thank you again for coming along with me today, and we will see you on the next trail.